Hey folks, I hope you've been enjoying the third season of Methodically Processing Systems. There's just a couple more episodes left in the season, and what's going to happen is that over the next couple of months, I'm going to be deciding if the show can continue for a fourth season, or if it's time for me to end it and move on. Here's the thing, the show sucks up time and it eats money. So, as fun as it is, it's not the most sustainable thing in the world. So, if you want to support the show and see season four, the best way you can do that is to put your money where your mouth is, right? Visit the link in the episode description and support the show by buying yourself a copy of our previous seasons of the show, or maybe even buy a copy of the companion book to the show, System Wisdom. All these things will help us out and will hopefully keep the show going into a fourth season and maybe even beyond. Anyways, here's the next episode. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to Methodically Processing Systems. Where there's signal, there's noise. We don't think about noise, but it's everywhere. Noise is the randomness that makes us laugh uncontrollably for no reason when we should be serious. It shatters our hopes when we expect things to go our way. Noise makes music through our radio sound low quality. It helps put babies to sleep. It lets us generate random numbers. It's the thing that keeps you from drawing a perfect circle by hand. It makes the game Operation a challenge. No one is exactly sure why, but our world is imprecise and noisy. Things don't happen exactly like you expect them to. They dance, they shuffle. There is always an air of unpredictability about everything. Noise is the enemy of our desire for precision and perfection. In the real world, there is no perfection because of noise. There are no perfectly straight lines, no perfectly smooth surfaces. There's always that jitter. If you're a perfectionist, noise will drive you mad. If you set a clock, every once in a while you're going to have to adjust it to stay on the actual time. Even your phone, which gets the time from some of the most precise sources on the planet, has to do so on a repeated basis. Otherwise, it will end up falling behind, or sometimes even ahead. Noise haunts us everywhere. So it's no surprise that we think of noise as a bug, a defect. It's something that's unwanted. It messes things up. It's something to be vanquished. Your camera has a noise reduction filter because who in their right mind would want little dots to be peppered all over their precious photos? But I'm here to tell you that noise isn't just a bug. It's actually a feature of our universe. Not only does it muddy the signal, but believe it or not, noise can actually enhance signals. It can make you better. It can make you more resilient. Imagine for a second that the world you lived in was made up of perfectly straight lines and perfectly smooth surfaces and perfectly straight everything. What's the worst thing that anyone could do to you in this perfectly straight world? What's the worst thing that anyone can do to a line that's supposed to be perfectly straight? The worst thing you can do to a straight line is to add jittery waviness to it. You've totally ruined the straight line. It's as frustrating as trying to draw a perfect circle by hand. But what if you have a wavy line to begin with? One that ebbs and flows and changes direction a million times and over again. What happens when you add some jitter to a line like that? Not much. It might look slightly different if you look very closely, but somehow it's just not as frustrating. As we discussed in our previous episode about linearity, linearity is rare outside of things that are human-made, so good luck finding perfectly straight lines in nature. Now, there's something else at play. Again, noise generally doesn't have as big of an effect on non-linear things, but every once in a while, the right amount of noise under the right conditions can actually enhance non-linear signals. It can make the signal even stronger than if the signal didn't have any noise in it. Now, the best way to convince you of this is to show you. So before I go on, if you've got Voice Boost or some other modification to the audio that's playing through your podcast app, you should probably turn it off. And anything else that could mess up with your podcast's normal, natural audio. I should also add that we don't try to cut out noise on our episodes on methodically processing systems. We keep that noise for the reasons that are going to become clear to you at the end of this episode. But today, we've actually removed most of the noise from the podcast, so we're trying to keep it as pristine as possible. Anyways, let's demonstrate this to you. Let's take a signal and record it with as little noise as we possibly can. I'm just going to record a simple greeting to you. Hello, dear listener. I hope you're doing well today. Okay, great. So now what I'm going to do is take that audio clip and I'm going to squeeze it hard right down the middle. That way, all that's left in the recording are the quietest and silent bits and the loudest bits. Now let's hear what happens to that recording when we apply the squeeze. Hello. So you probably couldn't hear much of anything because there was a little blurb at the beginning and then maybe a little blurb of a letter or word in the middle, but not much else. But let's go back to the original clip, the greeting that I recorded. And now I'm going to leave the noise in instead of purging it. And in addition to that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add some extra noise on top of it just to make it even noisier. And here's how it's going to sound. Hello, dear listener. I hope you're doing well today. So that's definitely noisier. Now let's stress our signal out one more time. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to squeeze it right from the middle. So what's left is the stuff that's ultra quiet and ultra loud. Let's hear what happens. Hello, dear listener. I hope you're doing well today. So that's pretty cool, right? The noise has actually helped my voice survive the squeeze. Let's actually hear the squeezed, noiseless version right next to the squeezed, noisy version and just hear the difference. Hello. Hello, dear listener. I hope you're doing well today. Now, neither of these two recordings was perfect. However, it's very clear that in the case of having that noise to begin with, my voice and the information that I was trying to convey to you all ended up surviving the stressor. surviving the squeeze, the information carried through thanks to that noise. Again, it wasn't perfect. There was noise, of course, and there was still a little bit of choppiness, but you could actually still hear my voice through all this. The noise that seems pesky during normal circumstances is actually boosting the signal when the information is put through that stressor. The noise is balancing out the stressor. In this case, the squeeze. The noise is literally more evenly distributing the force of that squeeze. And a similar thing is what noise does for real-world nonlinear things. It balances out stressors. Imagine if there was no noise when you went about your day. Imagine you stepped in precisely the same spot as you walked around your house every single time. No variation at all. Your bones, your muscles, your tendons would be stressed in the same exact point every single time, every single day. Every step would be the same force on the same point. Pretty soon, your body would break along a series of really bad repetitive stress injuries. But with noise, no two steps are the same. You physically cannot do the same thing twice without variation. The force of your bones hitting the floor is distributed by this noisiness to different parts of your skeletal system. Instead of wearing things down at one single point again and again, you distribute the wear and tear randomly along a much wider area. This is why it's better for your skeletal system, for example, to walk on uneven surfaces and do different activities. If you walk on the same even smooth surface all the time, the same direction, in the same way, even with noise, let's say like walking on a treadmill, you're actually reducing that noise. You're stressing the same general points in your body. So noise, rather than just being this annoying bug or this defect of life, is actually something that introduces essential variation into your life, and that variation helps distribute the toll of life itself. If you banished that noise and variation from your life, you wouldn't be able to survive. The noise, the random variation in our world, isn't a bug, it's a feature. Yes, it can muddy the signal sometimes, but it serves an important purpose. It distributes and balances the force of stressors. It helps you survive the squeezes of life. Next time you see some noise, maybe instead of trying to get rid of it, keep it. It may save you from something bad. It might even make you stronger. And by the way, if you want to see a visual version of the demonstration that we did earlier, we do the same thing to a picture with and without noise on methodicallyprocessing.com. Check out the link in the episode notes. I hope now you see noise as something other than a pesky thing to be vanquished.